In this video, I'm going to show you one of my favorite trails that I like to do when I come to Blue Ridge, Georgia, LJ, Georgia area. It's Stanley Gap. I'm starting on the Rock Creek roadside, or more of the south side. And I like to start from this side if I'm starting from the LJ area because it's about 10 or 15 minutes closer. It is about 5 miles off of the main highway that runs between LJ and Blue Ridge, which is 76. And about 3 miles of it is on a gravel road. It's fairly smooth. You can do it with a car, but just an FYI, it's about 25 miles an hour. It's a beautiful gravel road. It's really scenic. I actually like driving this gravel road. The parking lot on this side is fairly small. I would say it maybe holds 5 or 7 cars. So if you're coming on a busy weekend, one thing that I like to do is park off of Rock Creek Road a mile or two before I get to the parking lot. Today I'm parking in a parking lot I've never parked at before. It's the Rich Mountain Wilderness parking lot. It's fairly big, and I went and checked the sign. It does not say anything about not being able to park here, and it says access to this area is free. It's right off of Rock Creek Road, right behind me, and I'm about 1.2 miles before I get to the main trailhead. The thing about Stanley Gap is there's a ton of climbing. If you don't like climbing, this is not your trail. I'll talk more about the trail and things like that as I'm riding, but it's about 1,500 feet of climbing and about that much descending. And I'm gonna go up and over. I'm gonna do Flat Creek, and then I'm gonna come back. So we'll add in Flat Creek. I'll show you that trail as well. I'll talk more as I ride, so let's get going. All right, I'm climbing up the gravel road up to the parking lot. Like I said, it's about, 1.5 miles from where I parked up to the parking lot. Man, it's a beautiful day. Low 50s, totally sunny. Late September fall weather in the North Georgia mountains. Doesn't get much better than this. All right, coming into the parking lot, that was right at a mile. Good warm up because the single track starts going uphill immediately. So yeah, this is the parking lot. You can see it's not very big. Okay, time to keep climbing. You know, if you're starting from this parking lot, you just try to put it in the easiest gear you can to kind of get a good warm up, because it just starts going up immediately. So let's first of all talk about the bikes that are good for this trail. It's an important topic. My favorite are trail bikes. 29ers with maybe 130 in the front, 120 in the back, or 27.5 with 140 in the front, 130 in the back, which is what I'm on today. I'm on the Ibis Mojo. It's a demo bike that's in my fleet for a month or two. You do get some reprieves on this climb, but we've got, I think it's almost 1,500 feet of climbing before we start going downhill. So, like I said, if you're not into climbing, you probably want to stay off this trail, because a lot of climbing and some parts, especially coming the other way, are really steep. So this is an out and back trail, or a multi-directional trail. Doesn't matter which side you start on. Now, some people will start from here and then take Aska Road back. I don't really recommend that because Aska Road is fairly dangerous. Like, I think the speed limit's 55, and there's no bike lane, and there's curves, and I don't know. It's up to you, but I wouldn't do it. I've done it before, and I said I probably wouldn't do it again. But that is an option, because starting from the north side is a more difficult climb. Not that this one's easy by any means, but you've got some steeper pitches, probably pushing 20% in some spots, and there's a couple that are definitely hike a bike. One rock garden that I've never come close to getting up, so just keep that in mind. All right, I'm gonna continue climbing and then I'll show you the best part, which is going downhill. So I just found out that today there's an enduro race on this trail, and I didn't even know about it, and I could have done it, and I'm honestly a little bummed right now about that. So speaking of that is a good segue into also mentioning that enduro bikes are fine on this trail. I know I said trail bikes are my preference, but that's just because of all the climbing. So yeah, you can easily ride an enduro bike here and have fun. A little bit slower on the climbs, a little bit faster on the descents. So it's totally up to you. Well, maybe they'll let me enter the enduro race. Probably not. That guy had a number plate on his bike. Course tape for the enduro race. So I've been able to clear everything. I've not stopped. But this is a section coming up that's really challenging to clean. Got that one. I think there's one more that's really difficult. Oh, this is steep, y'all. Getting somewhat near the top. It gets super steep right here. So far I've cleaned everything. I did have to hold on to a tree back there because the line I took, there was a huge boulder that my pedals would barely get through. Had to finagle my bike, but I did not put my foot down, for the record. All right, so I just cleaned that whole climb, which I don't know if I've ever done before, but this is the start of stage 1 of the enduro. This is not the official downhill yet. You still got some climbing to do, but it's a fun section. It's real short though. So yeah, a few guys back there were getting ready for their enduro start. It's chip time, so you start when you want, which is super cool. Man, I got to do some of these. Little route section that's a little technical. More eroded than I remember. Well, hopefully everybody will be done with their enduro stage coming down this way before I come back up. That would suck. So that's the little downhill before you climb up a little bit more before we start the final. Oh, we're still going down. Forgot about this part. Okay, here's the finish of stage 1 of the enduro. Cool. My first enduro stage. We were going to get into enduro a couple years ago. Then COVID hit and canceled all the races. Then Dawson broke his wrist. So we didn't do the enduros like we had planned, but I really want to do them. All right, coming up to the last climb part before the big descent. It gets really rocky and rooty. I want to break up this Stanley Gap ride into 3 videos because this one's getting kind of long, and I want to do this trail justice because it's so good, and I want to be able to show you the enduro stages, show you a lot of the descents on this ride. So look for the next video to be uploaded in a couple days. Thanks for watching.